Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. Today I'm doing a quick follow-up to the recent live stream that I did. I just hit 300,000 subscribers, which is a really cool milestone, and I did a little Q&A live stream to celebrate that. Now, I had all kinds of technical issues. I've been doing live streams with my phone because I have not figured out how to do it with the camera here. Apparently, this camera that I'm filming on will do video streaming, but not audio, and that's kind of weird, but I don't have a separate mic at the moment, so we had to do the live stream on my phone. It had orientation issues, it had connection issues. I actually lost 5 subscribers during the live stream. It was so bad. So hopefully this little follow-up will go a little bit better. I'm going to try to answer questions that I didn't see in the chat or that I didn't get to, and then some other questions from Patreon and from the comments on YouTube that I didn't get to. I know there will be questions I missed, so I do apologize for that. If you have something that you really want to know, you can always ask me in the video comments or send me an email or wait for the next live stream, I guess, although I'm not great at seeing the chat in the live stream because it goes by so quickly and it's so small even on the big computer screen. Anyway, we'll jump right into the Q&A. A couple people asked if I have yet been able to map videos or pictures onto my globe projector. I've done a little bit of that. I haven't quite dug into it as much as I should. A lot of people offered me some help. A lot of people offered to help with the coding, to help with the projection system, and I haven't had time to get back to everybody. I've got way too many projects going on this summer. I would like to get back to the globe. It's on my to-do list. It's up near the top of the to-do list, but there's some other stuff coming up that's going to be taking all of my time for a few months. So I want to do this live stream partly because, yeah, I'm going to be so busy for the next couple months, I might not even be able to get back to comments or emails or Discord for weeks at a time. So yeah, there are some big projects coming up. Let's see, somebody else asked about the recent flood out at Sandland. They asked if there was any water in the tunnel or any significant damage. The only damage really was to the road where it crosses the ravine, that bridge ford situation. Lost a little bit of material. It made it harder for the tractor to get across, but that's being repaired, so no lasting damage that I know of. The culverts did their job. Part of the entrance to the old tunnel maze got some water in it, but it never really goes very high in there. The tunnel goes up pretty much immediately, so most of the tunnel is well above that ravine. All the underground stuff is above the ravine level, so the water doesn't go in there. Let's see, somebody asked if I could do a video about how in-flight entertainment systems work and if I could get into newer airport Wi-Fi. I haven't done a lot of that. It always looks funny when you're messing around with the in-flight entertainment on a commercial airliner. And these days everybody's so jumpy that people will like divert a flight if they see you texting something strange. So yeah, you don't really want to mess with that stuff too much from an experimenter level. It has been interesting to get on the Wi-Fi and then do an IP lookup and find out that my IP address is a satellite ground station somewhere in Texas. So that's really fun. You can kind of track what satellite systems that the aircraft Wi-Fi is using. Somebody asked if I'd ever been to Winnipeg. I have not. I've been to kind of Western Canada because I grew up in Alaska, and then I've been to Toronto. I've been to a little bit of Eastern, or I guess semi-central Eastern Canada. My most recent trip up there was when we went up to Carp, Ontario to pick up the geodesic radar dome. That was a lot of fun. I think someone else asked about, I might get to that question later. Somebody asked about the drive back from there with the dome and a U-Haul. So when I hit that question, I'll try to answer it. Let's see, other questions. I'm going to try to get through these pretty quickly because I know these videos can be kind of boring, just me talking head videos. I don't always sit through them, so I will try not to be a boring talking head all day. Somebody asked if Sandland's infrastructure is better for live streams. Not really. I do have that underground cell phone repeater in the tunnels, so I can get kind of 3G speeds. I can get basic internet. I can upload some low-res photos, but it's not good enough to stream. So maybe someday we'll get power there. Maybe someday we'll get network connections out there. But right now we're kind of relying on just one cell phone tower that's kind of near Sandland and doesn't get great service all the time. Somebody asked if I'm interested in electric vehicles. Yeah, somewhat. I would like to buy an electric car once my current Subaru finally dies. I know I should be buying it now because all of the tax incentives for electric cars are about to expire or be canceled. But I haven't seen one that I really like, and I haven't seen any used ones that I really like. I don't buy new cars. I'd rather get a used one. So Yeah, someday eventually. And I've done my own DIY electric boats and electric rail cars and whatnot. So I'm not quite good enough to build an electric car, but maybe someday that could be a project. Somebody asked if I plan on live streaming any projects. I don't know. I have trouble with the live streams. They always seem to be a lot of technical issues, and the way my projects go, I don't know if they're very conducive to live streaming, because sometimes I sit just staring at something for a while, not doing anything. That's pretty boring. Sometimes I'm breaking things and cussing a lot. That's not very age appropriate for everybody on YouTube. So I don't know. The way my work process and my build process goes, maybe, maybe not. There might be some kind of project I can live stream in the future, but I'll have to think about that. Grass Block Zach asked about the maps on the ceiling. In the live stream, you can see I have some maps up here. I have one of the world, and then I have one of the US, and the pins kind of show where I've been. And yeah, these used to be on the wall before I had this whole setup behind me, and those showed up in some prior videos. Now they're on the ceiling because it's free real estate, so I have a couple other maps and posters up there and whatnot. Balderdashier? I'm sorry if I'm mangling people's names. Let's see, they asked if I have seen a neglected dish sitting in a backyard and ever just walked up and knocked on somebody's door. Yes, I have, both for commercial buildings and for just neighbors and people that I've seen. I've also gone on Craigslist and I've posted want ads saying, I will come take down your dish for free. And when you post an ad like that, suddenly people remember, oh yeah, I've got this ugly thing in the backyard from the 80s and I want it gone, and this guy's going to come take it for free. So those are some ways to get a hold of free satellite dishes. I am not going to try to pronounce everybody's name here. Some of them are easy, some of them are I don't know how to say this. Somebody asked if I identify as a hacker. Do I attend DEF CON or any other offensive security activities? I wouldn't call myself a hacker. Maybe I'm a hardware hacker because I'm trying to get into consumer electronics in ways that the manufacturers never intended. I don't really do like a computer intrusion, network intrusion. I took some classes on that back in college and in grad school. I did some IT security classes. I did some computer forensics classes, but I've not really kept up with it as much. And I don't really do that as a job or as a hobby. I did go to SecretCon recently, which is kind of a hacker convention, and I'll probably do a video on that soon. But that would be probably my closest connection to the hacking field, either white hat, gray hat, or black hat. So maybe I'll call myself a hacker in that video, since I went to do a speaking engagement at SecretCon, so I guess I'm technically a hacker now. Father Mackenzie asked, what do I think about UVB-76? I think that's the Russian buzzer, one of their oddball. I forget exactly which one that is. I've heard of it, and it's escaping my mind at the moment if that's a long-range radar system or if that's one of their number stations. It's one of those things I've heard of and have not looked at yet. I think that's a low frequency. I say low. Anything under VHF I feel like is low frequency, but I think that's a HF or low frequency thing. We'll look at that at some point in the future. Zephiel asks, what's my day job? I've mentioned my day job a few times. I do work for a small property management company in the Twin Cities, so I help manage some warehouses and office space. It's nothing super exciting, although I do a little bit of everything since I'm one of just a few employees. So I do everything from work on the website to find new tenants, to background checks, to writing leases, to maintenance coordination, to purchasing, just a little bit of everything with that. So it's kind of interesting, but as I've mentioned in some other videos, I'm getting to the point where I'd like to try to do YouTube full time, and YouTube does not make that much money for me. The goalposts keep moving for YouTube. Decades ago, you could make money on YouTube with 100,000 subscribers. Nowadays, with 300,000 subscribers, I'm making way less on YouTube than I do from the day job, and I've cut back on hours at the day job so I can spend more time on YouTube. So I think the secret these days to YouTube is you sell out. You get a NordVPN sponsorship, you get a Brilliant sponsorship, you get some big company to pay you a bunch of money to push their thing, and that's how you make money on it. And I haven't really wanted to do that. I've done a few little sponsored videos here and there with gadgets and whatnot. I've worked with some companies whose products I actually like, but I haven't really sold out to a VPN or to an online college or anything. So I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. Maybe I'll find a sponsor that I actually like. Maybe I will start making a little bit more frequent content and try to get more viewers. I've been trying to push Patreon lately to have another income stream that's somewhat separate from YouTube, and that's really been helping. I'm not making that much on Patreon, but it's a little bit. It's almost enough to cover a couple bills, so that's nice, but I definitely cannot live on that, and can't really live off the YouTube income just yet, although I feel like I'm on the edge of it. So long story short, we'll see what happens with the day job. Gamer asks, do you have a P.O. box? Yes, I do. I am very hesitant to just publish it because I don't really need everybody's junk drawers. I don't need a lot of random stuff. If you have stuff you want to send me, shoot me an email, tell me what it is, ask me if I'm interested. I might say no, I might say yes. There's definitely stuff people have sent me where I go, okay, what do I do with this? It goes on the to-do pile and it sits there, and I always feel bad about that. There's other stuff people send me and it's like, oh, this is amazing, I'm going to make a video about it right away. But it can be hit or miss, and I don't need to... My house is full, my garage is full, my yard's full. I don't really need more stuff. I like more stuff. I like free stuff, but I have to be a little more selective about it. So send me an email if you have some weird junk you want me to look at, and I'll think about it. My email address is gabe@saveitforparts.com, and I've got that posted in a couple spots on the channel as well. People have asked if they can call me on the phone. I don't use phones anymore. Phones are dead. Voice calls in 2025, the only people who use voice calls are my parents, roofers trying to get me to commit insurance fraud. Let's see, there's the cruise scams. There's the IRS scams. It's basically just scammers and spam. Nobody else uses the phone, so I just don't answer the thing. Every now and then I'll get a random call. There's never anybody at the other end of the line, and they never leave a message, so they must not be a human. So I've just assumed that cell phones are basically for texting and they're for using apps. They're not for voice calls anymore, because voice calls have gone the way of the fax, they've gone the way of the telegraph, they've gone the way of the carrier pigeon. Voice calls are expired. Anyway, rant over. I will move along. I do have a P.O. box, so email me if you want to know that. Somebody asked if I'm trying to set the world record for old satellite dishes. No, I don't think I can set that record. There are plenty of people with more weird satellite dishes than I have. I just like to collect them, and I do different things with them. Bytescriptor, he posted a bunch of stuff on the chat, and I'm sorry I missed most of his questions, but he said, congrats on 300K. What are you going to do for 300K? I guess the live stream was kind of what I had in mind. I don't know if I'm doing a big, crazy video like... I know Peter Streepole always blows something up for his big milestones. Colin Furs always blows something up. I've done a few fireworks videos here and there. Those get a little bit iffy on YouTube sometimes with the monetization, and then if you're using a lot of big explosives in the US, that gets iffy with some legal stuff if you're doing it commercially. So if things are monetized, I try to avoid that. I do have some fireworks stuff and gun stuff over on Patreon, and that stuff kind of stays off YouTube for monetization and ad revenue and whatnot. But I don't have any real plans for like a 300K video other than that live stream I did, and then I guess this follow-up. So I'm sorry, Bytescriptor, if that disappoints you, but I've got too many other things going on at the moment. Another Mighty Max asked what's the latest on Sandland. I covered that a little bit here a minute ago. I'm still working on the tunnels, I'm working on the monorail, we're working on a little spaceship prop project, I'm working on the geodesic dome. As I mentioned before, Sandland is not my property. I just help out there, and I do a bunch of projects. The owner is the one in charge of inviting people out or okaying people when they want to come out. So I will bring people out there sometimes, but usually I have to be a little selective and I have to run it by the owner first. So if somebody wants to come out and see Sandland, it's not always up to me, and I apologize for that. But again, it's not my property, so I can't just invite random people out there all the time. Wavenor asked, how do you find time for other life stuff alongside filming videos and work? And I mentioned this a little bit. I'm trying to cut back on hours at work. Maybe I'll quit this year. We'll see. I definitely have chores and yard projects that have been sliding because I've been doing too much YouTube stuff. I've been trying to grow the YouTube channel, so I've definitely let some other life stuff slide. So it's a challenge. It's definitely a challenge, and sometimes I look at my to-do list for the day and say, I don't want to clean the bathroom, I don't want to vacuum, I don't want to mow the lawn. I'm just going to ignore all those things and film some stupid video. And that's great until it starts catching up with you and you can't find your way to the front door because the lawn is a jungle. And So it has to be a balance. Dylan Bender asks, if you had to choose a new hobby to explore, what would it be? There are so many, and I already have so many hobbies. I want to do more ham radio stuff. I don't have time to do traditional ham radio. I have a ham license. A couple people asked, why don't I have a ham license? I do. I've had one for 20 years, and I just don't have time to use it. Talking on the radio takes time. I grew up talking on the radio. I grew up in Alaska. We had boat radios. We were on VHF and CB all the time. So voice radio communication was just a part of life, and ham radio was always kind of a novelty. It was like, oh yeah, some people do this for fun, but we're doing it seriously. We have to do it. So ham radio, when I was a kid, it always just seemed like a toy. Now, yeah, it seems fun, but I just have not had time to do much with it, other than ham-related satellite stuff. So yeah, ham radio would be one. I'd like to get into model railroading, and that's another one kind of like ham radio, where the I don't want to be rude or mean, but the stereotype is that ham radio, you have to be 65 years old. You have to be retired. Model railroading, you have to be retired. These are hobbies for 65-year-old white guys, and I'm not that old yet. So I would like to do a model railroad setup. I've got one out at the sandbar at Sandland that's kind of a basic plastic one, and I do have a bunch of HO scale stuff squirreled away in the basement from when I was a kid. So someday I'll get into model railroading. Let's see, Jupiter604 says they're a fan of my t-shirts. Thank you. This is not one of my t-shirts, but I have some on, there's a merch page, there's a link on the YouTube videos where you can go get t-shirts, stickers, magnets, all that kind of stuff. I try to keep the prices really low. I really only make a couple dollars in profit, so the profit margins are all set low because I'm not really trying to make money on the merch store. I just think it's a cool way to get some of my logos out and awareness of the channel, and maybe if somebody's wearing one of my shirts somewhere, maybe that'll get me some more subscribers. I don't know. But yeah, if you want a t-shirt with some of my stuff on it, check out the merch links on YouTube. Dana Pretzer says Donny needs his own channel. Donny is one of our cats, and the cats actually have their own channel. It's at Donny Fluff, or the Donny and Fluff cat. It's Donny and Fluff's cat toy reviews, and I can put a link to it here somewhere. I should have a link in the YouTube, on my YouTube main page as well. So that's just all the cats reviewing cat toys. In fact, I need to do another video with them. I haven't done one for a while. I was going to do one now, but it's really warm today and they're both asleep, so they're not very energetic for videos at the moment. Flowers390 asked if I will ever get my amateur radio license. Like I said, I've had one for over 20 years. I don't have time to use it. I have too many other hobbies. Yeah, Byte Scripter again asked, what am I going to do for 300,000? What's my next project? I mentioned on the live stream some of my other upcoming projects. I have a bunch of stuff in my backlog. I usually have a few videos uploaded that are just unlisted, so I have stuff kind of, if I get too busy, which I am anticipating being so busy basically the rest of this summer and maybe into the fall that I will not be able to upload videos. I will not be able to do a lot of updates. I won't even be able to check social media as much. I am going to be packed, and I know I'm going to be packed. So I have a little bit of a backlog, so I can kind of schedule stuff ahead of time to some extent, and then I can catch up when I need to. Somebody asked if I've ever tried to pick up GPS spoofing from other countries. I have not. I've not really been... I've been to Europe once or twice. I've not really been to the spicy part of Europe. Anyway, no, I have not done that. Closest I've seen, we were out by Area 51 one time, and the GPS started dropping, and that was interesting. I don't know if that was the U.S. military messing around or what was happening. Somebody asked if I've ever been to Winona. Yeah, it's a cool little river town. They've got some interesting stuff there. There used to be a antique store that is an old brewery, and they could you could actually go down in their caves under the brewery, and they had antique stuff for sale in the caves. I think the fire marshal made them stop doing that, so you can't look at the caves anymore, but it's still kind of a fun little town. Somebody asked about a Minnesota meetup, and yeah, I talked about that a little bit. I think that'd be really fun. I have not had the time or attention to do something like that. A couple people offered to try to help me plan something like that, and yeah, that would be a lot of fun. I'll try to think about that more. I think it would be cool. Somebody in the live stream asked about a surplus crawl, which would also be cool to do, like just going around to different Axeman stores, University Surplus, Free Geek, things like that. So that could be fun. Tim Mooney asked if I have Starlink. No, I just have wired internet, actually fiber optic internet. And I think my phone, I think why I had so many issues with the live stream is my phone dropped the Wi-Fi and jumped onto 5G. I don't quite know what happened there. My house is kind of a bomb shelter. It was built in the 1950s by people who thought Cold War was going to heat up, so the whole thing is kind of a Faraday cage, and it's random. Sometimes I can't get Wi-Fi from one end of the house to the other. Sometimes I can't get cell phone service in certain rooms, so I used to have another Wi-Fi repeater here in my office, but unfortunately that was causing too many RFI issues with some radio stuff, so I had to unplug that one. But anyway, I don't have Starlink. I've fiber optic, and generally that works great for uploading videos, but the Wi-Fi is not always reliable for live streaming. I lost my place in my list here. Mohammed asks if we could see any Morse code stuff. Yeah, that's something I'd like to get into. I've never really learned Morse code. I'm familiar with it. I've been exposed to it. I don't know how to translate it, but that's something on my to-do list. Let's see, someone asked about Mark Rober's satellite, if I have gotten back into looking for SatGus. I did buy a selfie. I've not received it yet. I did get the patch. I did get, let me see if I have that here. Yeah, he sent me the patch, so I did buy a selfie with the cats, and have not seen that selfie yet, so I don't know how long it'll take for that to come through. But yeah, I think the thing's working as far as I know. I can't see anything from it because the downlink is encrypted. Somebody asked, Morex wants to know, what's the best marine tracker app? I've used the HackRF a little bit with now I'm forgetting the name, AIS, Automated Information Service, I think. We never had that when I was in Alaska. That's kind of a newer thing since I was fishing in Alaska, so I have not really used it on a boat yet. I will try to do that for some upcoming videos. I've got a video coming out. As I film this, I think the video is posted for tonight, but this video might come out a day or two later. So I should have a video out around now where I look at AIS on a HackRF Portapack. Yeah, I use marinetraffic.com sometimes. I know there are other websites out there where you can go and look at boat traffic all around the world. They're kind of fun. Marinetraffic.com is one that I use. Alperin asks, how do you get projects done and keep yourself curious? I guess I'm always curious. I'm kind of ADHD, so I jump around between projects, and there's always something new that's keeping me interested and fascinated. So I have a big list of projects to do, and I never get to all of them. I probably have several years worth of backlogged projects that I could get to if I have time. So I don't know, I guess I find it interesting to do new and different stuff if possible. I know I do a lot of the same stuff, like with the satellites, and that's kind of because that's gotten popular on YouTube. It's what everybody wants to see, but I do try to branch out and do other things as well. And I've done plenty of other content like boats, railroad stuff, tunnel exploring, different electronics things, all kinds of content like that. Somebody asked if I'm going to stream more. Maybe, maybe not. I'll have to figure out how to do it a little better. I'll have to see if I've got a way to capture HDMI from this camera or capture something else and just not use the phone every time. Jack Daniels Junkie asked if I liked the drive through Northern Ontario and Lake Superior with the U-Haul and the Dome. Yeah, that was great. That was a really fun trip. I've got that whole trip up in a couple of videos in here about grabbing the geodesic dome from Canada. That was a lot of fun. I don't know if I'd do it again right away, but it was a really neat trip. And that was a really cool opportunity to get that surplus geodesic dome. So thank you again to the guys up there with the CCERA, the Canadian Centre for Experimental Radio Astronomy. Great group, really cool facility they have, and really cool that they gave me their leftover stuff that was lying around cluttering up their facility. Somebody asked, Chad asks, how has Tuggy been? I've got a Tuggy tugboat project in a pile in the backyard. The DNR kind of told me I couldn't ride on it, so we've been using it as an RC tugboat, and I've had some issues with the control systems and the power systems. I do want to use it again. I've not had time yet this year, but we might still get it out on the water. I actually saw a Tuggy on an auction lately. Somebody was selling one with an outboard motor, all set up. I didn't want to go over $100 on it. I think I bid like $90, and it went for more than that, so I didn't get another one, but I don't really need another one. Hopper the Kangaroo Tech asks if I have ever hacked a dish receiver or DirecTV. Not really. I haven't done anything really with satellite television. I just don't find it that interesting, and the modern ones, I think you can probably hack them, but I don't know anything about it, and I haven't bothered with it. It's a questionable content on YouTube. It's kind of morally and legally questionable, so hacking modern TV systems isn't really something I get into, and I don't know of anything else interesting you can do with those dish receivers. If I find one on the side of the road, sometimes I'll open it up. If it has a hard drive, if it's the DVR model, I'll salvage the hard drive out of it, but the rest of the components, they're just kind of e-waste. Orbiter 221 asks, how is Oliver the cat? Oliver is the neighbor's cat that comes around sometimes. He's very rude. He'll come up to me, but he doesn't really want to talk to me. He doesn't like to be pet. He has no fear, but he also has no friendship. So he's kind of a jerk. He has a little girlfriend who follows him around, or he follows her around, and I haven't seen her lately. I think she's having kittens under somebody's shed, hopefully not my shed. There have been kittens under my shed in the past, and we take them off to the rescue, but Oliver and his girlfriend, I think, are neighbors' cats, and I haven't taken them into fixed or anything because they belong to somebody else. So if I find out which neighbors, I'll maybe talk to them and see if they'll get the cats fixed, or if I can pay them to get the cats fixed, because I think they're making more cats somewhere. Google Crazy asks if I smoke weed. I don't. I'm too much of a square. I don't know. I've never tried it. I have to say I've never seen the appeal. I have friends that are into that, and I don't care. So I don't know, I'll drink a beer or 12, but less so lately. I've been cutting back on beer just to lose weight, and as I get older, I can't even drink beer as much. It just makes my stomach upset. So I think once you hit age 40, you can't drink anything interesting. I can basically only handle lights and like Pilsners. So once you hit 40, it's like you can't drink IPAs anymore. So anyway, getting off topic here. Let's see, Alperin asks, are you reading many books and documents for your projects? Mostly online these days. I have a couple books along the lines of satellite stuff. I have this older one that I actually just picked up. I have not read this before, but this is something I'm planning to read and just have not had time to get into it yet. A lot of the up-to-date satellite information is all online, so anything that pertains to an active satellite, usually you have to go online to find that. And there are plenty of other people who do documentation on amateur satellite stuff, so I find way more info just from other amateur websites, from other hobbyist websites, than I do from books, at least at the moment. ByteScripter asks, do you think using a Cantenna with a TV dish would work as a waveguide for long-range Wi-Fi? Yes, and I actually have some professional antennas just like that out in the garage when I got that auction load of wireless ISP stuff. Some of them are just TV dishes with Cantennas, and that's a professional product that they sell and use. So I'll try to do a video on those in the future. BMO asks, do tinfoil hats work, or do they just amplify the signal like a dish? This is going to be an interesting one. Not a full video, but I will mention it during the SecretCon video. They had a tinfoil hat contest. So you could design a tinfoil hat. They gave you rolls of tinfoil, and you could put it on a head with a radio receiver inside, and they would tell you if it blocked the signal. I made one, and it enhanced the signal. So my tinfoil hat making skills will make the government control your mind even more than normal. Other people were able to block signals, and that tinfoil hat competition was really interesting. So I will have some brief images or video of that when I do the SecretCon video in the future here. Retro Roadshow asks, do I see any base station radios at Axeman? Yeah, Axeman in St. Paul right now, and the last couple times I've been, has had a ton of radio stuff. Up in the front by the window, they've had like old E.F. Johnson, old Motorola, base stations, mobiles. They had a big like handheld radio system that was basically like a suitcase radio with a handset. I think it was just a transmitter. It wasn't even a receiver. I say that they had all that stuff, but their stuff changes so much they might not have it now. But I would recommend go to Axeman, see what they have. They often have radio junk up in the front by the window, and then kind of in the next couple aisles back from that. They have the interesting electronic stuff is up there. Story Concept asks if I could do a deep dive on how information gets uploaded to a satellite. Maybe. I've contacted some uplink stations in the area. There's one that actually, they want to keep their location a secret, and they didn't respond to me at all when I contacted them, so I think they don't want people to know that they exist, but this was a while ago. My battery is dying here, so we might have to wrap this up soon. I am actually plugged in, but it's still saying the battery is dying. Maybe I'm not plugged into enough current, but we'll try to get through the rest of these quick, and then we'll wrap up this video. BMO asks about the coolest knife that you can show. This is one I have on my belt at all times. It's just a little Gerber Diesel multi-tool, and the knife blade is actually chipped because I use it so much. I use this basically every day. This is on my belt basically all day, every day, except if I'm flying somewhere on a plane. And that has been super handy. It's great to have that multi-tool at all times. I also have a little flashlight on the belt pouch, and yeah, this combo, I've basically worn a combo like that since college for 25 years. I've had those tools on my belt, and they come in handy all the time. I have some other knives around, but that's basically what I use every day. A couple people asked if I could do videos about Skyroof. That's a new satellite tracking software. I haven't had time to do that. It's on my list. I'm so busy that when new stuff like that comes up, I have to really scramble to try to stay on top of timely topics. Like when NOAA 18 was shutting down, when DMSP was changing, I had to like really mess around with my schedule to cram those videos in. Skyroof, I'd like to do something on it. It's a brand new software package, but I have not had time. Similarly, some folks asked if I've ever looked into launching a satellite like a CubeSat. Okay, so the cheap part of that is building the CubeSat. It's only $100,000 to build a CubeSat. And then launching that, it's like several $100,000. I absolutely cannot afford that. Mark Rober's little satellite, I think he said was several million to design, build, launch it. So I don't have that kind of money. Yeah, if the channel gets to millions and millions of subscribers sometime in the future, maybe I can afford a satellite like Mark Rober, but I am nowhere near that right now. John asks, what's something you collect that we aren't aware of? I collect a few things. I'm not great about it. I'm not really... I'll collect something for a while and then I'll kind of forget about it. Like old telegraph insulators, I kind of collected those for a while. I have a few around, nothing super rare. I collected shot glasses for a while and then I kind of stopped or forgot about it. Pins and buttons. Likewise, so I have like little collections of a bunch of little things. Stickers, I have like piles of stickers in my junk drawer here in my pile on my desk, like Axeman stickers. So, but then I stick those on everything, like my camera cases. So those are fun. Yeah, if I think of something else, maybe I can do a video about it. I don't know. Kieran asks if there are any collabs in the works. One or two. I have a few people I've tried to collaborate with and we're not quite sure how to do it. I've had some people ask about collabs and I'm not great at like delegating or figuring out workflows for multiple people, so it is a challenge for me to collaborate sometimes. I've done a few here and there, but that might be something we see more in the future. Somebody asked about recommendations for getting into RF experimentation aside from NOAA and amateur radio on the space station. General SDR stuff, I always say go on rtlsdr.com. It's rtl-sdr.com. That's where I got a ton of my info and ideas for the first dozen or so SDR videos. There's a ton of cool info, a ton of cool projects. They link to other people's info and projects. They link to walkthroughs and videos. Hackaday is another website that has stuff like that. So those are great resources for just getting ideas and finding things to experiment with. And the way I started was just, I started with things that looked like I could make sense of them. I could do those with what I had, the equipment and skills that I had, and then I just kind of worked my way up as I gain experience. Somebody asked if I could review their game model, review some models of antennas in their game. Yeah, I could try to do that. Shoot me an email. I don't know if I can get a hold of you from here. I think it was Kaber Ulapool. YouTube is terrible for conversations in the comments. It's really hard for me to follow replies and comments. Sometimes I get duplicate comments. Sometimes the comments just vanish. So YouTube's comment system is awful. It's basically unusable. It's broken. I hate it. They spend all their time doing these like stupid new fads like shopping and trying to rip off TikTok, and they don't spend enough time fixing their comment system. So if you want to contact me, don't use YouTube comments. Don't use the phone. Email me. Email is a great way to get a hold of me. Discord is a pretty good way, although I don't always check that every day. And my Discord channel should be linked on the main page as well. All right, my battery is seriously dying here. My throat's getting a little hoarse. So one final question and we're done. Somebody from Australia asked about these. Costco carries them, and they're great. I like these. Non-alcoholic, but they're a lot of fun. Last question. Pixelated Error asked, do I recommend Quansheng or Baofeng? Baofeng. Quansheng is cool, but it's kind of flaky. It drains its battery and storage. It's a little more complicated to use. I would say Baofeng. Easy to use. Millions of them out there. They're like $20. Batteries, you can get cheap batteries all day. You can get antennas all day. Very straightforward. I would say Baofeng is a great place to start. I basically have not touched my Quansheng since somebody sent it to me. I did one video on it, put it in the corner, and it drained its own battery. The Baofengs, you can throw them in a hole in the ground and it still has a battery. It still has like 3 bars of batteries a year later. So very reliable. I've taken Baofengs out on kayaks with like waves breaking over me, and even the non-waterproof Baofengs still work fine. I do have some waterproof ones that work great as well. So yeah, for a beginner, I would say Baofeng. Thank you to everyone for watching this one. Before the camera shuts down completely, I am going to sign out, and we will see you next time.